Well, I think we have our answer to my earlier question about Bookmore Park specialists. Anwar Barul Smith qualifies on pole position ahead of Scott Cheney. Rob Nash, excellent qualifying on grid 3 with Peter Mills on grid 4. Russell Endine starts with Liam Hitchin on row 3. Josh O'Hagan, Roger Mullen, Ben Shaw and Paul Williams, who showed so well at Bookmore Park, round out the top 10 on this 24-card grid. On board with David Mulholland here, trying to signal to Shane O'Neill to move up to the back of the grid. I think O'Neill's trying to be clever here and get a run-up, but actually he's missed the start completely. And Anwar Barul Smith leads ahead of Scott Cheney. Rob Nash on the inside in the black. Russell Endine through to 4th place. Out of turn 1, and Cheney's looking for the lead. He's got his wheels inside of Barul Smith and he's through. Now Nash is on the outside, he's got to be careful here. David Sutcliffe has to take to the grass to avoid the cones. Tipping into turn 3. There's a lot of contact going on. 24 is Peter Mills. Sideways in the middle of turn 4. He's managed to hang on to his spot though, I think. And we're back on board here with David Mulholland. That's Lenny Wood ahead of us in the black. Wood looking to the inside. Not sure who of. We'll have to wait a bit here. Peter Jankowski pushes his way past David Mulholland, who repays him in kind. Out of the back door, and we're looking at Peter Jankowski from David Mulholland. 66 is Daniel French. Whoa, getting in very hot there on the brakes. Into the bus stop. Paul Williams under pressure from cart number 58, which is William Munro. Williams down in 17th place, and I saw him on the grass on the exit of turn 1 at the start. So he's left himself with some work to do. He showed very well at Bookmore Park. Stuart Osborne is his next target in cart number 7 ahead. David Sutcliffe under pressure from Keith Mizzen, and cart number 9, Roger Mullen. Back on board with David Mulholland. That's Josh Walsh ahead of us. He's got somebody on the inside here. Oh, he's throwing it up the inside as well. And Josh Walsh is coming back at him. They're rubbing side pods. Oh, now that's what I call close to the action. Scott Cheney continues to lead. Anwar Barul Smith, his advantage, well, it's next to nothing. 0.2 of a second. You're looking at cart number 2, Josh O'Hagan and Stephen Crutchley fighting over 7th and 8th. Roger Mullen down the inside of Keith Mizzen. I think that position has been exchanged a couple of times between them. Cart 22 is Liam Hitchin. Ahead of Josh O'Hagan, Stephen Crutchley. Heavy contact on Steve Billett, I think from Paul Crawford, although Ben Shaw's right in the mix with him. Peter Mills showing well in 5th place, holding off Hitchin. And look at this, Scott Cheney has pulled out 3-4 cart lengths on Anwar Barul Smith. Russell Endine in 3rd, ahead of Rob Nash. Towards the back of the field, qualifiers from the B final, Moritz Mello and Peter Jankowski. Further forward, penalty board being shown there, not too sure who it's for. Josh O'Hagan trying to run down Liam Hitchin. And he's getting closer, you know. Now trying to pick up the throttle on the exit. Holding off Stephen Crutchley. Peter Mills getting a bit of a queue behind him. Meanwhile, Paul Crawford has got past Stephen Billett. Nice line through turn 5. And he pulls out another cart length down into turn 6. Misses his apex though. Crutchley trying to close your race leader. We've got 4-way at the front now. Scott Cheney, Anwar Barul Smith, Russell Endine and Rob Nash. Keep watching those fastest lap times. That will set the grid for the second A final. On board with Stephen Billett, keeping in touch with Paul Crawford, who is now in 10th place. And we're back on board with David Mulholland. That's Josh Walsh, a bit sideways in turn 1. David Sutcliffe under pressure and about to be demoted by Roger Mullen. Sutcliffe was in 12th. He's now down in 13th. Stuart Osborne losing out to Shane O'Neill. What a run from Shane O'Neill, He qualified from the B final and he's up to 17th. Sutcliffe has got back past Roger Mullen, so 12th is his again. Keith Mizzen on the prowl as well. Well, Scott Cheney's lead is 0.7 of a second as Barul Smith has responded. Looking out the back door momentarily at Maritz Mello from David Mulholland. Mulholland up to 20th. Sutcliffe under pressure from Roger Mullen, and the position goes his way. Keith Mizzen gets a run round the outside and is already looking down the inside into turn 3. Good move from Keith, and Paul Williams is joining in as well. Roger Mullen changes lanes and is down the inside of Mizzen into turn 4. This has been set up for David Sutcliffe to get a run on all 3 drivers here down into turn 6, and Shane O'Neill is joining in as well, and Paul Williams is running out wide. He's got to get to that apex before Shane O'Neill, and he has. Turn 8. It looks as though it should be flat through 9 now. Then on the brakes into the bus stop. Oh, Sutcliffe ran wide. I'm not too sure if that camera's going to survive the rest of this final. Whoa, Williams late and hard on David Sutcliffe, and I think he's to blame for Shane O'Neill on the grass. I'll be surprised if he hasn't picked up a penalty for that one. Clumsy move from Paul Williams, and it's bringing the back of the field forward. Shane O'Neill has lost out to Osborne and Lenny Wood. David Mulholland, Josh Walsh, all in the mix here. I suspect somebody's going to end up in the tyres if we're not careful. Your race leader, Scott Cheney, his advantage is beginning to disappear. It's 0.4 of a second now over Anwar Barul Smith. Russell Endine is 2 seconds off the lead, and with Rob Nash for company, Ben Shaw has got ahead of Stephen Billett. Ben Shaw into the top 10. Maritz Mello at the back of the field trying to run down David Mulholland for 21st. Rob Nash has been fairly quiet since the start. He can get on the podium here. Is he saving his fire for the end of this final? Maritz Mello trying to find a way past David Mulholland, hitching under pressure from Josh O'Hagan in the battle for 6th. Well, this A final is beginning to warm up nicely. You better pay attention. Paul Crawford getting a run on Josh O'Hagan into turn 9. Dare he throw it up the inside of turn 10? He'd be mad to do it. He's going to save himself for turn 1, and he's going to try and get a run. And here he comes, Paul Crawford to the inside of Josh O'Hagan. And it's a lovely move, and he's through. David Mulholland trying to find a way past Shane O'Neill. On the brakes into turn 1. Is he close enough to throw it over the curb and down the inside the toe of the boot? No, he's not. Close enough, I think, to give a love tap to Shane O'Neill. Hands in the air, suggests somebody is off here at the hairpin. I can't see anybody. Paul Williams under pressure from Shane O'Neill in what is the fight for 18th place. Roger Mullen, I think, may have put in a move on David Sutcliffe, who's going to take it back into turn 6, and Osborne goes through with him. Into turn 9. Whoa, and Ben Shaw's made a mistake and ran wide. And the way that Stephen Billett was sawing at the wheel, I wonder if somebody's dragged some water onto the track or some dirt. It's easy to see how when you see how they come through that corner here. Roger Mullen and Paul Williams. Somebody's got to keep it off the tyres. Heavy contact, Williams on Mulholland. And of course everybody like vultures is trying to get in there to take advantage. Paul Williams losing out big time. Battle for 6th place still going on. Liam Hitchin holding off Josh O'Hagan and Stephen Crutchley. Paul Crawford is pulled clear of this group. Crutchley ahead of O'Hagan. Is it momentarily? Yes, it is. O'Hagan taking the spot back. And I know you want to see what's happening in the tag team match at the back of the field. Williams, Walsh, Jankowski, Mello, French. Williams looking to the inside of Walsh, and that's for 20th place. sweeping round the hill through turn 9. We're already on lap 11, at least the leaders are. Scott Cheney's lead is still 0.3 of a second ahead of Anwar Barul-Smith. They're 3 seconds clear of Russell Ending. Paul Crawford is caught up with and just passes Peter Mills for what is 5th place. Mills trying to come back at him. Crawford is covering off the move inside of turn 6. Around the hill they sweep. And here's the leaders, Scott Cheney. His lead still 0.35 of a second ahead of Anwar Barul-Smith. Russell Ending, I think, has the measure of Rob Nash. Paul Crawford in 5th ahead of Peter Mills. Liam Hitchin has pulled clear of Josh O'Hagan and Stephen Crutchley. Stephen Billett is 10th with his shadow Ben Shaw in 11th. Billett is the leading super heavyweight. Lenny Wood is second in that class, currently running in 15th place. He's a little bit closer now as Ben Shaw is ahead of Stephen Billett, who drops to 11th. 2.5 laps from the finish. Has Anwar Barul-Smith got anything left for Scott Cheney? He's close to within 3 kart lengths. He's had plenty of time to work out where Scott is quicker and where he's slower. Into the bus stop. And there's no doubt that Anwar's trying. I don't know how many times he's clipped that bundle on the exit of turn 10. David Sutcliffe in 13th ahead of Stuart Osborne, Lenny Wood, Shane O'Neill. Peter Jankowski holding off Daniel French in their personal battle over 22nd place. Your race leaders into turn 4. And Stephen Crutchley's got another run on Josh O'Hagan into turn 3. And he goes through. That's for 8th place. O'Hagan trying to come straight back at him though. And has he forced Stephen Crutchley in narrow into turn 5? Well, we're cutting back to the race leaders as we're about to start the final lap. Scott Cheney's lead is 0.4 of a second. So he's found a few hundredths on that last lap to pull out a small margin on Anwar Barul-Smith. Russell Ending's coming through, 3.6 seconds behind. Oh, and it's still all kicking off behind. Shane O'Neill, David Sutcliffe, Lenny Wood, Stuart Osborne with the orange lid. 3 into turn 8. Just about goes. It certainly doesn't go through turn 9. And Lenny Wood's lost a spot to Osborne. Oh, heavy contact. I'll be surprised if Lenny Wood gets away with that one. Half a lap from the finish. Scott Cheney's going to make it into turn 6, and that should be enough for the win. Paul Williams is trying to find a way past Roger Mullen for 18th place. A final that promised quite a bit for Paul Williams and has not delivered after a poor turn 1 and poor first lap. Mullen under pressure from Josh O'Hagan and Moritz Mello. And here's your race leader. And now your race winner. Scott Cheney takes the first final from Bayford Meadows ahead of Anwar Barul-Smith. Russell Ending finishes 3rd ahead of Rob Nash. Paul Crawford finishes an excellent 5th on the road but picks up a penalty that demotes him to 7th. Peter Mills is 5th, Liam Hitchin 6th.
In 3rd place was Russell Ending. In 2nd place was Anwar. The start of the front row guy, our winner today of A final number 1, Scott Cheney.
Drivers' fastest lap times from final 1 dictate the grid for final 2, which means Anwar Barul-Smith starts in pole position, looking to extend his championship lead. Paul Crawford turns an excellent final 1 lap into grid 2. Final 1 winner Scott Cheney is handily placed inside of row 2, Liam Hitchin on the outside. Rob Nash and Russell Ending start on row 3. Peter Mills and Shane O'Neill, who qualified from the first B final and had made it to 12th in the first A final from the back of the grid, start on row 4. Stephen Crutchley and Josh O'Hagan round out the top 10. Stephen Billett and Lenny Wood will contest the super heavyweight honour from row 8 on what is now a 26 car grid. Well, here we go then. You can see the Union flag at the ready. Anwar Barul-Smith controls the pace ahead of Paul Crawford on grid 2. We're racing down to turn 1. Barul-Smith has got the whole shot. Cheney made sure he was on his bumper. Paul Crawford is on the outside, but he's managed to get second place. Cheney down to third then. Rob Nash in fourth. Oh, Josh O'Hagan spins round and I think he's collected David Mulholland. Cheney going for second, heavily in the side of Paul Crawford. Might pick up a penalty for that one, so he's waved him back through, and he may be punished by Rob Nash and Peter Mills. He's badly placed for turn 5, and this could give Russell Endine a chance down the inside of turn 6. 3 into turn 6 really doesn't go, and Cheney is washed out wide. He's down behind Peter Mills. Stephen Crutchley trying to go round the outside. And look at the lead that Barul-Smith's got over Paul Crawford. So it's Barul-Smith, Crawford, Endine, Nash, Cheney ahead of Peter Mills. Warning for the entire line there over too much contact. Into turn 1. Peter Mills looking to get on the bumper and throw it down the inside of Cheney into turn 2. Not close enough. Hitchin though, throws it down the inside of Shane O'Neill and gets in behind Stephen Crutchley. Crutchley running in 7th place. We're looking at Shane O'Neill in 9th from Ben Shaw. Paul Williams throws it down the inside of Ben Shaw. Can he hold that corner? Can he keep the spot into 5? Compromised on his entry, but Shaw is slow for the corner. Mizzen is there as well. Love tap for Paul Williams, and he loses out to Keith Mizzen as his momentum is bled off by the contact. Maritz Mello puts him on the grass. Shaw lucky to keep it out of the tyres, and Stephen Billett's gone through behind Lenny Wood and Roger Mullen. Oliver Hall throws it down the inside of turn 10. It's been a poor half dozen corners for Ben Shaw. You're looking at the battle in super heavyweights. Stephen Billett behind Lenny Wood. There's only 2 of them in this main A final, and right now Lenny Wood's got one hand on the glass trophy. Back with Scott Cheney in 5th place, ahead of Peter Mills, behind Rob Nash. Back with Billett. Roger Mullen, I think's made a mistake. Now, is this the chance for Billett though? Because Lenny Wood ran round the outside and didn't make it. Anwar Barul-Smith pulling clear. We're on lap 4. His advantage is 2.2 seconds. Scott Cheney is under pressure from Peter Mills and Stephen Crutchley. He ran off the circuit there, bounced along the curb, lost a tiny amount of momentum, pushing Mills back into Crutchley, and now back into Liam Hitchin. David Sutcliffe down the inside and through on Ben Shaw. So David Sutcliffe moves up to 18th place. Liam Hitchin trying to get a run on Stephen Crutchley into turn 6. That's the fight for 7th place with Shane O'Neill and Paul Williams. Rounding out lap 4, and Crawford has pegged Anwar Barul-Smith's lead at 2.3 seconds. Nash under pressure from Cheney. Oh, caught the inside curb at turn 1, and that will cost him a spot. Shane O'Neill under pressure from Paul Williams. Williams got a trophy in one of the A finals, the first A final at Buckmore Park. Not sure he's going to be able to do that today. Paul Crawford there ahead of us, I think has just lost out to Russell Endine. Yes, he has. Endine moves through to 2nd place. Sweeping through turn 9. That corner is now being driven flat. Oh, Endine went a long way into the bus stop. Now he's forced to defend to hold off Crawford down to turn 1. He's done it. Crawford trying the crisscross on the exit. Side by side, it's on for Crawford. How brave will he be? He hops the curb and he's back through to 2nd. So it's all to do again for Russell Endine. All the while, Anwar Barul-Smith is pulling clear. He's half a second quicker on this lap than Paul Crawford and Russell Endine, and that will be caused by their battle that's dropped them onto the nose of Scott Cheney, who is speeding up, and towing with him Rob Nash, Peter Mills, Stephen Crutchley still in touch. Oliver Hall out of the back of the A final, having qualified from the second B final, dicing with David Sutcliffe, I think around position 20. Russell Endine pushing hard, but Paul Crawford is holding him off. They're 3.5 seconds behind Anwar Barul-Smith, who appears to be putting in one of his demonstration drives. Well, we're on lap 7, we're almost at half distance. Cheney down the inside of Russell Endine, came from a long way back. It didn't work, and he's got away with it because Rob Nash and Peter Mills were not quite there to take advantage. Here he comes again, and this time he makes it through cleanly. And Rob Nash takes a look, almost pushed into it by Peter Mills. Stephen Crutchley closing in on Mills as well. Well, if we discounted Anwar Barul-Smith, we'd have a hell of a fight on here for the lead. Mills shown the outside by Rob Nash. He'll try the crisscross and the undercut down to turn 2. Nash knows where it's coming, goes to cover, and he has it covered. Shane O'Neill gets his wheels inside Liam Hitchin. Paul Williams takes the wide line. Now they're going to try the old crisscross game here. The question is, who will come out with the better run out of turn 5? Hitchin on the outside of Crutchley. Crutchley fairly gives him room, and it's allowing Shane O'Neill a run down the inside. So Shane O'Neill moves up to the 8th position. Mizzen now trying to find a way past Paul Williams. Anwar Barul-Smith continues to pull clear. His lead is now nearly 5 seconds over Paul Crawford. Back with Billett. Looking at the back of Roger Mullen, and he's ahead of Lenny Wood in their battle for super heavyweight supremacy. Liam Hitchin trying to come back at Shane O'Neill. Out of turn 5, probably the most important corner on the circuit in many ways. Russell Endine ahead of Scott Cheney. Oh, what is Scott Cheney doing? He's almost collected Peter Mills and Rob Nash, and Stephen Crutchley's taken advantage. Nash coming back at him, Shane O'Neill. Peter Mills in there with Liam Hitchin. It's down a single file, well, pretty much almost, into turn 10. Oh, Hitchin's just got past Shane O'Neill. Well, let's reset this field then. Barul-Smith's lead, 5.2 seconds ahead of Paul Crawford, who's pulled out 1.7 seconds on Russell Endine with everything that's gone on behind. Stephen Crutchley in 4th, ahead of Rob Nash, Liam Hitchin. We're looking at Shane O'Neill in the fight for 7th place with Paul Williams, Keith Mizzen, Moritz Mello. He's out the back of the first B final, so good progress for Mello. Mizzen holding on. Peter Mills at the back of that group, down in what would be 11th place. Mello's gone through on Mizzen. Mills trying to gather it up and come again. So Keith Mizzen in the top 10, well, only just, he's 10th. Trying to hold off Peter Mills, who was running in 5th in the early going. Mizzen looks to the inside. He was close enough, I think he should have thrown it in there. There's your race leader. We'll just drop in to say hello because, well, he's all on his own. He's nearly 6 seconds clear. There doesn't seem much point in following his race. Lenny Wood ahead of Ben Shaw. Wood in 15th place. Stephen Billett beyond in their fight in the super heavyweight category. Oliver Hall's made good progress, up to 18th place. Actually, it's 17th place. He's passed David Sutcliffe on this lap. Mizzen down the inside of Mello will have the opportunity to come straight back at him. Down into turn 2. And Mello down to 10th as Mizzen goes to 9th. And here comes Peter Mills. Very close, a little bit of contact. Rubbing is racing. Oh, Oliver Hall into the side of Ben Shaw. Late and hard. Oh, how narrow is Ben Shaw into turn 5. And in squaring off the corner, Oliver Hall takes the position easily. Oh, and he's lost out to Sutcliffe as well. So he's down to 18th. And look at this, Russell Endine's call up with Paul Crawford, who runs wide. Oh, and he's clipped the barriers. Oh, and there's more contact with Scott Cheney, and Stephen Crutchley takes to the grass to put a pass on him as Crawford tries to block on the inside. A little bit naughty there from Paul Crawford. It was his own mistake. Scott Cheney does the sensible thing and gets right out of the way. He's a lap down now. Crutchley in 3rd, but here comes Paul Crawford to take the spot back. He's through cleanly. Narrow into 4 though. Opportunity for Crutchley to get a good run through 5 and a run down to turn 6. Not close enough. Russell Endine though is released in 2nd place. Round the hill they come. Anwar Barul Smith moves on to his final lap. He could cruise to the finish now. He's 8.5 seconds clear of Russell Endine, and then the battle for 3rd place between Paul Crawford, Stephen Crutchley. Cheney is a lap down. Liam Hitchin comes through in 5th place ahead of Rob Nash. And I'm not sure if Stephen Crutchley is prepared to give up on 3rd place just yet. So Paul Crawford's going to have to stay on it. He runs deep into turn 2. Crutchley looking over his shoulder when he should be thinking about putting a pass in turn 3. I think Paul Crawford's going to hang on here. The body language from Stephen Crutchley looks as though he's settling for 4th place. Having to settle for 2nd place is Russell Endine. Here is your race winner. What a start to the season for Anwar Barul Smith. It's a 3rd win of the season for Anwar Barul Smith, and he extends his lead over Russell Endine, finishing 2nd to 12 points in the championship. Paul Crawford's 3rd place moves him to 3rd in the standings, while Paul Williams drops to joint 4th with Scott Cheney.
And 3rd place, they started on the outside of the front row, but pushed back a spot was Paul Crawford. Started on grid 6, they came up a little bit, and 2nd today in final 2 was Russell Endine. Likewise, this guy's had a very good day as well. He was 2nd in race 1. He started on pole for race 2, and I think, if I remember rightly, he won this by a country mile. This must have been one easy race. So our day's winner of final number 2 was Anwar.
So championship leader and now title favourite Anwar Barul Smith collects his 3rd winner's trophy and his 4th trophy in 4 races. We'll see you again in 2 weeks' time at Rye House for round 3. Until then, thanks for watching and goodbye.